Hello, it's me, Scribble. I'm back, having still not actually finished uploading of Witches, Wizards and Unicorns, but, you know, today I think I'm going to do a blind fic reading, something I've never read before, or even seen before. Oh yeah, and aside from like the images and stuff, I don't think I'm going to edit this one. I'm going to see how I can do with that. So yeah, this one's called A Night to Remember, or Why You Should Get Drunk at Other People's Weddings. It's by Killbles. Not sure if I said that right. Sorry if I haven't. But yeah, Killbles. So no idea what's going to be in this at all, except from the description. Rainbow Dash learns it's good fun to get drunk at your best friend's brother's wedding. Good company doesn't hurt either. So with no further ado, here we are with the first chapter. Alcohol, dancing, and intimate discussions about the universe leads to something that starts with S. Ooh, I hope it's not what I think it is. Well, now waiting for the page to load because I'm slow like that. Okay, right. Rainbow Dash shoved another small cupcake into her mouth and chewed happily on the sweet treat. She was tempted to take the whole platter, find an isolated corner somewhere, and wait out the rest of the night there in comparative peace and quiet. A hard look from Applejack, who was watching her over the baked creations like a hawk, dissuaded her from doing so. Not a chance, Sugar Cube. Not a chance, Sugar Cube, the look said. The cow pony shaking her head the tiniest amount. Rainbow sighed in frustration and straightened her dress slightly, resisting the urge to just rip the thing off and go for a fly. Instead, she put a fake smile on her face and tried to enjoy herself. She moved slowly through the crowd. She didn't know any pony here, although she had seen Spitfire and a few other Wonderbots prowling around earlier. They were probably too busy doing whatever it was they did at high society events to even bother with her. Finding herself suddenly emerging from the crowd and standing on one of Canterlot Palace's many balconies, she cast a dissatisfied look across the city. She imagined she could make out the carriage of the newlywed Shining Armour and Princess Cadence below her, trundling quietly through the cobbled streets, but dismissed the notion as preposterous. The bride and groom were long gone. "Wish I had someone right now," she muttered under her breath sourly. That's meant to be sourly. Well, she wasn't exactly thinking in a romantic sense here. She could have just about done with any pony right now. She's feeling a little lonely and her friends were all enjoying themselves. Twilight was still bubbling over her brother's wedding, and was as running all over the palace like a certain orange filly did when her idol was around. Rarity had found a nice upper-class crowd to talk, where Rainbow didn't feel comfortable at all. Applejack, as she had seen before, was busy replenishing the snacks. And I'm just going to change that. Sorry. Yeah. Applejack, as she had seen before, was busy replenishing the snacks, and owing to Rainbow's habit of sneaking bites in here and there, wasn't welcome there at all. Fluttershy, well, only Celestia knew where she was. The skittish mare had vanished from the wedding party as soon as she'd been able to. And Pinky, Rainbow Dash didn't even want to think about what Pinky was doing, in her head to even think about it. She was very sure ponies were not supposed to bend like that. What? Not supposed to... Sighing in frustration, she stared out into the night sky. It was a beautiful, almost cloudless night. The moon had risen high in the sky and was casting its white light in such a way that seemed to be soaked up by everything. "Oh, hello," a slightly surprised voice said. She turned round to take in a confused-looking stallion wearing an officer's uniform. A small tray with a couple of bottles and glasses, presumably borrowed from the bar, were balanced on his back. Soren turned his head quickly, making the drinks wobble precariously on their perch. "Hi," Rainbow Dash said flatly, immediately recognizing the Pegasus as Soren, one of the Wonderbots she had met briefly at the gala. While normally she would be thrilled to see one of her heroes in the flesh, The sour evening had curbed her enthusiasm somewhat. I don't suppose you've seen my friend. He was, just out here a few minutes ago, Soren asked, slightly taken aback by her lukewarm greeting. No, Rainbow Dash said, shaking her head slowly. Sorry. Soren shrugged and trotted down to her, deciding to make the best of the situation. Can't be bothered going back there to look for him. In what the future... Can't be bothered going back in there to look for him. In the future, if Wavecheer wants a drink, he can get it himself, he said, placing one of the glasses on the balustrade running around the balcony, and pouring a decent amount of the pilfered liquor into it. Remembering he now had company, he turned to Rainbow Dash and offered it to her. Drink? She looked at the drink for a moment before taking the glass and downing the concoction in a single gulp. I'll take that as a yes, Soren said, staring out at the city below them. His eyes lingered on the sprawling city for a moment before rolling back slowly to examine his female companion with a curious look. Rainbow Dash felt a slight heat rising in her cheeks when the stallion didn't look away, his deep green eyes continuing to scrutinize her slender form. Do I know you? He asked eventually. Rainbow Dash, she said. Grand Galloping Gala, Best Young Flyers competition. Well, you were mostly unconscious for that. Ah, yeah, Soren said enthusiastically. I know who you are. Rainbow Dash chuckled early. I think every pony here knows you. Yeah. Kinda takes the fun out of meeting new ponies when they all know you already, Soren said sadly, his ears dropping a little. She caught him looking over again. So, what are you doing out here by yourself? Not a party girl? Nah, just bored. Frustrated, Rainbow muttered. Not really my sort of party, too. Posh. I don't know any pony. Well, you know me, Soren pointed out, taking a measured sip of his drink. Last time I tried hanging out with you, the camera got to spend more time with you than I did, Rainbow muttered, pouring herself another glass of liquor and downing it with gusto. Soren grinned meekly. Yeah. Sorry about that, by the way. He lapsed into silence for a moment again. He watched curiously as Rainbow Dash put a glass on the railing and nudged it forward slightly. What are you... He was interrupted as the glass tipped over the side and landed in the garden below and smashed to pieces, probably destroying some poor fluffy creature's home in a shower of glass. He shook his head, not wanting to question his companion's strange antics. Oops, she mumbled quietly. She grabbed Soren's now empty glass and started nudging it towards a similar fate. Okay, how about you come with me? Soren said hastily, not sure if he was motivated by a strange desire to save the castle's glassware, or by the chance to spend some more time with the borderline insane yet beautiful mare next to him. Where? She asked, looking up from the glass she had sentenced to smashy time. Come and have a dance with me, you'll feel better. Rainbow Dash looked at him in stunned silence. What? Dance with me, come on, it'll be fun, Soren said, as he plucked his glass off the railing before it tumbled away to its fate. He gave the mare a small nudge to get her moving. Really? You want me to dance with you? Rainbow asked incredulously. Yes, really. Consider it repayment for my rude behavior last time we met, Soren urged. Besides, I couldn't just leave a pretty mare like you out all on her lonesome for the night, could I? He added, a suave grin making its way onto his face. Rainbow's face flushed. She had to be dreaming. No way in a question would one of the Wonderbolts, especially Soren, be not so subtly hitting on her. Okay, fine, Rainbow said, poorly hiding her excitement. Just once though, okay? No more funny business, got it? I'm a true gentle colt. I'd never stoop to such acts, Soren said with mock sincerity, making Rainbow Dash giggle. You're a funny one, she said, as they moved to the dance floor together. You're from here, she gestured to the upper crust ponies around them. But you act like you're normal. I'm down to earth, yes? Soren said, hovering half a meter off the ground. You're awful, Rainbow Dash said dryly. Thank you, I try my best, Soren said, taking a hoof and spinning her slowly to the music performed by the small orchestra hired for the event. Tell me about yourself, Rainbow Dash. I know you're a fantastic flyer, and good looking, but that's about it. What did I say about funny business? Rainbow said back, hitting him softly on the shoulder before draping her forehoops around his neck in an entirely hypocritical fashion. Soren raised an eyebrow, but otherwise remained impassive. I'm from this little town called Ponyville. I run the weather patrol there. I have 5 wonderful friends, 4 of whom I haven't seen for the last 3 hours, and 1 who has probably seen too much of me. She nodded at a cross-looking Applejack at the food table. You're a big eater? Soren asked, with a gleam of approval in his eye. On occasion, Rainbow shrugged, swaying slowly in time with the music. She would have preferred a more upbeat song, but she appreciated the opportunity to talk to some pony, especially some pony as prestigious as a Wonderbolt. You were one of the bridesmaids, weren't you? How did you get a deal like that? Soren asked, curiously, spinning her around slowly again. One of my friends is the groom's sister. Ah, he said simply, his unblinking eyes not breaking contact with Rainbow's. She had to fight the sudden urge to lay her head across his shoulder. So if you're not from Canterlot, where are you staying? Rainbow gestured somewhere vaguely towards the castle. Nice to be up there. Don't even think about inviting me back to some dingy military barracks. I wouldn't dream of it, Soren said, not quite telling the truth. What about you? Rainbow Dash asked. Tell me a bit about yourself. I'm sure you know everything about me, Soren grinned. Well, not everything, Rainbow Dash said coyly. Whatever happened to no funny business? Soren asked, snorting in amusement. That's not what I meant, you idiot, Rainbow Dash said with a smirk. The song ended with a smashing of the floors, but she still had her hooves wrapped around the stallion's neck, their faces inches apart. Of course. What was I thinking? Soren remarked dryly, a small smile forming on his face. Some period of time later, denoted by 3 asterisks. That sounds familiar. The night became much more jovial after that, and she had started warming to the stallion, who'd insisted after his 12th drink that drinking is just another sport I happen to be very bad at. Rainbow Dash hadn't gone any easier on the drinks than he had, and any pony happened to walk past their secluded garden-side table would have thought them to be a pair of drunken hooligans rather than the distinguished wedding guests they were. You see, this is why I wish I had a job like yours, Soren muttered as another pony trotted past them, a disapproving look on his face. On his face. No pony cares so much about what no pony cares so much about everything I did. Why? You get everything as a Wonderbolt. It'd be great, Rainbow slurred, running her hoof around the room of her glass and gazing at the Wonderbolt in adoring fashion. Soren snorted. Early mornings, reasonable pay, celebrity status, fighting the vilest of Equestria's enemy at the drop of a hat. Not that much to write home about. I don't get why you're whining. That sounds like fun. I mean, I wish I was a Wonderbolt. We could fly around together all day, tell jokes, laugh, mush our faces together, bash our eyes together, maybe even be back to back badasses. She adopted a mock fighting pose and kicked out an imaginary enemy. Mush our faces together, Soren repeated slowly. I think you're drunk, Miss Dash. You're forgetting your own rules. Rainbow Dash didn't even hear him. So why are you whining? You're a Wonderbolt. You've got everything. Soren's eyes narrowed. I've had enough of this. I'm a Wonderbolt, Lark. I'm not. I'm a normal pony. Flawed, stupid, prone to peer pressure, moaning, and cursed with the inability to indefinitely metabolize alcohol. So I can say that a bit more drunk. Sorry. Flawed, stupid, prone to peer pressure, moaning, and cursed with an inability to indefinitely metabolize alcohol. As a pony, I will whine all I bloody well feel like. Not mattering what job or position I hold in society, and I'll whine less when I'm enjoying a fun, relaxing, carefree night out with a beautiful mare like yourself, and not just being told continually that I'm something that I'm not. Rainbow Dash's jaw fell open a little as her inebriated brain tried to make sense of Sora's little tirade. You don't like being a wonder boat? She asked finally. On the contrary, I love it, Sora sighed. Just wish more ponies would treat me like, a real pony, and not just as a loud, yappy thing in a flight suit. Rainbow Dash took his hoof and patted it gently. Well, you're my special, loud, yappy thing in a flight suit. Thanks, Sora mumbled. This is the first good night I've had in a while. He fiddled with his tie, which was hanging at an angle he probably considered jaunty, but Rainbow thought just made him look like a tool. Don't mention it, Rainbow muttered, placing her head on the cool metal table with a content sigh. Maybe I should head home. The party's starting to wind down, and I'm pretty smashed, she mumbled, hoping Soren's drunkenness would encourage him to do something stupid and chivalrous, like offer to take her home. Yeah, probably. You wanna hoof getting back? Soren asked, despite the fact that he had drunken more than Rainbow had. Yeah, that'd be great, she replied, her mind doing a little backflip in celebration. Wait here a sec. I'll just let the team know what I'm doing. Don't want them getting worried and sending out a search party to all the pubs in Cantermelot after me, Soren muttered, managing to walk in a straight enough line to the other side of the crowded garden where the other Wonderbolts relaxed. He talked with what looked like Spitfire for a moment, before she turned and gave a quiet speech to the laid-back flight team. While Rainbow Dash couldn't hear what she said, she could make a fairly good guess by the team's reaction. A few wolf whistles and cat calls followed Soren as he trotted back across the gardens, an embarrassed as hell look on his face. Care to fill me in? Bemused Rainbow Dash asked, clambering to her hooves. Soren's ears flattened against his head. I'm sure that isn't needed. Sure it isn't, Rainbow said, elbowing him in the ribs knowingly. Another 3 asterisks, so... The two Pegasi soared through the sky happily, their flight paths slightly wobbly, yet remarkably controlled for ones of their degree of inebriation. Where to, Mom? Soren asked, beating his large wings furiously to keep up with her. She pointed to the top of Canterlot Castle, and an annoyed groan escaped Soren's lips. That's high. I climbing. Too much work and all for nothing when you go back down again. You know what I like more than climbing? He asked, pulling her head slightly. What? Falling, he replied. flaring his wings dramatically before plummeting, before plummeting like a rock. He fell a good 100 meters before unfurling his wings again and landing gently on a large bank of clouds. Rainbow Dash tutted quietly before gliding more gracefully down to his level and lighting the cloud, barely displacing the tuft of white mass. Barely displacing a tuft of the white mass. Now you have to climb more, she pointed. I know, Soren said back, flopping on his back and gazing into the inky blackness of the night sky with a stupid grin. I just wanted to spend a bit more time with you before my duties as your chaperone are done. The trade-off was worth it in his mind. In the few hours they spent together, Soren could really feel a connection between the two of them. She was a lot like him, just without a dick, and dare I say, not smart or good looking. Soren blinked rapidly. Must have been drinker than he thought to be thinking like that. Rainbow Dash shrugged and flopped down next to him. It's beautiful, isn't it? Soren asked, waving at the stars speckled across the night sky. High above the city and scarce cloud cover, the pair had an almost perfect view of the heavens. Yeah. Kinda like fireflies. Makes you wonder. Wonder what? Dash asked. Doesn't it make you wonder if there's anything else out there? Or is it us? He trailed off. Not really, Rainbow admitted. Haven't you ever thought how tiny we are in the grand grand scheme of things? Not really, no. I'll explain. Imagine looking down at the world from up there. The world would just be a pale blue dot against the nothingness of space. Just a dot, Dash rumbled. So, consider that dot though. That's it. That's home. That's us. On that little speck of nothing is every pony you've ever heard of. Every pony you know and love. Everything that ever was. That's where they live their lives. Sorry, mumbled. The aggregate of our joy and suffering. Thousands of ideologies and economic doctrines. Every hunter, forager, hero and coward. Every creator and destroyer of civilization. Every king, peasant, young couple in love. He briefly locked eyes with Rainbow Dash as she listened silently. Every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer. Every teacher of morals. Every corrupt politician. Every superstar. Every supreme leader. Every saint and sinner in a history of our species live there. On that tiny little mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. He paused, not sure where his wordy lecture was going, but knowing somewhere, somehow, an alien astronomer would be pissed that he'd stolen its speech. Sort of a sobering prospect, isn't it? Soren, I think you're rambling, Dash said, prodding him gently in the stomach and snuggling up next to his warm body. I know, I must be really drunk if I'm prattling on about the universe. He rolled his head over and looked at Rainbow Dash. Really justifies eating a whole cake though, doesn't it? Rainbow laughed loudly, caught off guard by his offhand comment. After her mirth had died down, they gazed at the stars in silence. perhaps pondering the meaning of existence in their small world. Rainbow lost track of the time they spent up there, with her head resting gently on his shoulder, its steady rise and fall of Soren's chest. She breathed silently, the only movement. If some pony had told her this is how she would have spent her evening, she would have laughed at them. But now she was here, nestled silently against her idol. No, her friend. Just felt right. I suppose one day I'll look back and blame being drunk and philosophical for what I'm about to do, Soren said, breaking the stillness. What's that? Rainbow started to say, but was cut off by Soren pressing his lips against hers. Oh. Okay. This is looking ever more like a Klopfic, but, there's still time for that to change. The tension that had permeated between them the entire evening suddenly snapped, and Rainbow Dash pushed back with a sudden passion and surprised Soren. Her soft tongue brushed softly against his lips, demanding entry into the cavern beyond. After a moment, his mouth opened and their tongues intertwined in a fiery dance, rivaling Pinkie Pie at a dance concert. This is what she'd been wanting since they danced together. Now that he'd made the opening move in the game, she was all too happy to play along. Soren, pinned underneath her, rubbed his hooves down the side of her body and over the base of her wings, eliciting small groans of delight from the lithe flyer. We're going to end up back in my suite in bed with each other, aren't we? Rainbow moaned. Well, unless you've forgotten the way home, Soren mumbled. It's looking pretty likely. She broke the passionate contact and stared deep into Soren's green eyes. Good. Shouted. Good. Shouted in a lustful tone before pushing her face against Soren's with a reckless vigor again. What about your friends? Soren asked, massaging her back softly with his hooves. They'll hear us, won't they? Yeah, I guess, Rainbow said with a soft chuckle. You're a naughty mare. You thought I got all this way by being nice? Oh, okay, good. More asterisks. Rainbow Dash opened her eyes lazily. She rolled over, quickly shutting them as a few rays of sunlight assaulted her retinas viciously. Her head throbbed in sympathy as she rolled over again. No Soren. She shrugged, not entirely surprised. It would have been nice if what they'd had wasn't just a one-night stand. She'd really started to like the guy. Not that she'd ever admit that, but, alas, he was a celebrity and she was just a lowly weather manager, so in her mind, the chances of something happening in the department were below zero. She groaned again as a flood of memories came back from last night. Their passionate, alcohol-fueled making-out session on the Cloud. She'd led him back here, and, well, showed him a good time. She opened her eyes again and took in the scene of the messy and slightly damp bed sheets. Her dress from last night lay crumpled in the middle of the floor in such a way that would have had Rarity howling for blood at the mere sight of it. A few empty bottles and playing cards lay strewn about the room, and, most confusingly, a full-size surfboard has popped up in the corner. What the hell? She asked herself, falling out of bed with the grace of a drunken buffalo. She swaggered over the surfboard and examined it closely. A small note was attached at her eye level. She glared at the note, demanding it give up its secrets, but her eyes couldn't focus well enough to read it. Tearing the note off the board, she stumbled to the door, yanked it open, and stumbled into the common room before falling face first onto the couch. Morning, a voice belonging to Twilight said from the direction of the elegant dining table. My head, Rainbow moaned, burying her face in a pillow. Don't whine, you knew what you were in for after drinking that much. Oh, And by the way, I wear noise-reducing earplugs when I sleep. They didn't work, she said flatly. Oops, Rainbow Dash said into the pillow, not really meaning it. I barely got a wink last night, a southern voice that could only be Applejack's added. I have to say, I don't think I've ever heard the phrase "giddy up" used quite that way before. That's obviously a Big Bang Theory reference. Rainbow Dash lifted a wing above the back of the couch and folded part of her wing in, leaving a single part of her feathery appendage showing in what was considered a crude fashion. I think that's the equivalent of the finger. She heard Applejack stand up angrily before presumably being forced back down by Twilight. How's she doing that? Applejack demanded. I don't know. Wings aren't normally supposed to do that, Twilight muttered, peering at Rainbow's wing curiously. How are you doing that? I'm hungover. I don't know what I'm even doing awake, Rainbow countered, throwing the note in the air. She flapped her wings, sending the sheet of paper spiraling towards the table. Read it for me, please. I can't. Maybe you should have drunk less, Twilight said, plucking the note out of the air and levitating it in front of her eyes. Maybe you should have got laid, Rainbow snapped grumpily. Come on, spill the beans, egghead. Twilight threw an annoyed look at Rainbow Dash, but cleared her throat regardless. Rainbow Dash. Sorry I had to dash off. See what I did there? Haha, yeah, you're right, it was awful, I hit myself. He didn't write that. No, that's what's written here, Applejack said. Whatever, get on with it. Anyway, sorry for ditching you so soon, but I'm a pretty busy stallion. Last night was awesome. Maybe we could do it again sometime? I'll have to check my GD roster, but I should be free tonight if you want to hang out again. We could go get a coffee or something, if that's okay with you. I'd love to get to know you a bit better. I'll swing around late today anyway, so, we can organise something. You probably won't get another chance to see you before you head off home. Thanks again. Twilight stopped reading and muttered something under her breath. He's crossed out the words "love Sorin" and replaced it with "your fuck buddy who is most definitely not as fast as Rainbow Dash is in bed." Care to comment, Rainbow? Twilight asked with a giggle. No, she mumbled, flushing red in embarrassment. Well, I think that's nice he wants to see you again, Applejack said in a tone that didn't... Well, I think that's nice he wants to see you again, Applejack said in a tone that didn't quite agree with the word she was saying. Our little Rainbow has gone and got herself a boyfriend. Shouldn't that be girlfriend? Better than you, Applebag, Rainbow Dash snapped. A stray thought crossed her mind. It doesn't say anything about a surfboard on there, does it? Twilight gave her friend a quizzical look, but scanned the note quickly before flipping over. Oh, missed something. P.S. Don't ask about the surfboard. I've got no idea in hell where it came from or how we managed to get it in there. The thing that alcohol, dancing, and author's note. The thing that alcohol, dancing, and intimate discussions about the universe leads to is undoubtedly surfboards. Anyone who wants to sex really needs to get their head checked out. Seriously, what kind of writer do you take me for? On an unrelated note, this story was completely written on a whim and was not planned or intended in any way, shape, or form. Well, that was, different. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it from me now. So, until the next time, my little bronies, I'm probably not going to record anything else. Okay, maybe just like one more little sure, but I'll probably try and finish off the seventh element, which I realise I still haven't done yet. So yeah, I'll just edit this, sling it on there, and adios, todos. Meanwhile, on a totally unrelated note, I've just got my first subscriber. Avantla S, sorry if I said that wrong, has just subscribed and been the first person to subscribe. So, hello, thanks for subscribing. You're my first subscriber, and therefore you are very special. Thank you. Seriously, yeah, bye. Until next time.